Hello, everybody. Welcome to this unique moment in sports broadcasting. For the very, very first time since the historical match at Wimbledon between John Isner here on my left and Nicolas Mahut here on my right, we have brought these two guys together to talk about the match. Guys, thank you very much for being here with us. John, thanks for being with us.
Of course.
Nicolas, thank you very much for being with us and accepting to do this interview in English.
Thank you for the invitation. It's always a pleasure to do it in English.
Thank you for not having me do this in French. I appreciate that.
The next one will be in French.
Yeah. Okay, in 10 years.
In 10 years, exactly. You have 10 years to learn your. So I want to start away with the first question, and I'm going to ask you, John, and then Nico, if you want to interrupt or if you want to add anything, don't hesitate. But like I said, this is the first time that this has happened to get you guys together to talk about this match. And I want to understand, first of all, how in the world is this possible that this hasn't happened before?
That's a very good question. I think for me, I know in the immediate aftermath of our match, it was something that I didn't really enjoy talking about because I know we were both asked so many questions. And I also, I can speak for me when I say that at a certain point, I just wanted to forget about the match that we played because everyone was asking us questions about it. And rightfully so. I totally understand that. But for me, it grew very tiresome talking about this match. And I'm talking, 1, 2, 3 years after the match. We were both right in the prime of our careers, 5 years ago. And it was just something that I wanted to maybe not focus on as much. So it's not that I tried to avoid the topic, but it was something that I didn't seek out all the time. I would answer the questions obviously when people would ask me, but that was about it. And Nico and I, of course, have unbelievable mutual respect for each other. We both knew what we were a part of during the course of those 3 days. And, still to this day, when we see each other, we don't really talk about the match that we played all the time. We might mention it here or there, but we talk about other things because we've become very, very good friends.
But I think John and I, we have a special bond, and we believe was so special those days. But I think was never needed to speak about it. No word needed, and also maybe because John won that match, maybe out of modesty, maybe he didn't want to talk about it, and I don't know. But I feel like 10 years later, I'm okay, and I want to talk about it. I'm ready for it.
Yeah. No, I totally agree, Nico. I mean, I think now that it's been 10 years and, as the years went on, people would talk about the match maybe less and less. And of course, on the 10-year anniversary, it's really a shame that we're both not at Wimbledon right now for the 10-year anniversary. I mean, the tournament would be going on right now. And I don't know if they had something planned for us, but I was totally looking forward to getting back to Wimbledon this year on the 10-year anniversary and maybe doing something with Nico, at the very least, taking a picture, at the court again or something. But I'm sure maybe Wimbledon had something planned because a lot of people have been very interested over the years in the match that we played. And as Nico said, it's something that, of course, 10 years down the road, right now, I'm super comfortable talking about. I want to embrace this match as much as possible.
Maybe they will do something for the 11 hours match 11 years later. Maybe next year would be.
There you go. There you go. We'll be back next year for sure.
But
so I heard the rumor that you guys, there was a rumor that you wanted to play doubles, right? John, you reached out to Nico to know if he would play doubles with you at Wimbledon this year.
Well, Yes, I put him on the spot. I didn't text him privately. I posted an Instagram and put him on the spot. So Nico is a very wanted man in doubles. So he may have to dump his partner if he wants to play with me. I can't promise we'll do great, but I think that would be very, very cool for us to play doubles.
That's for sure. The place we have to play is definitely there. I mean,
it has to be.
I don't see myself finishing my career without playing doubles with John, especially at Wimbledon. It would be so much fun. That's for sure.
Yeah. And another thing, look, this match was 10 years ago, and the other thing that I find really cool about what's going on is both of us are still playing incredibly well 10 years later. And we're both not going away anytime soon, in my opinion. So we have some years to plan this doubles match of ours for us to team up, at Wimbledon. And it's not very often that players have, in my case, 13 years. Nico's case, he's going on 16 years professionally, and both of us doing so incredibly well. So I think that's very, very cool.
My friend.
Okay, a little bit more. Sorry, Nico.
Well, John, let me remind you that Nico is 54 today. So,
hey, look, I shortchanged him. My point is, it's all the more impressive that both of us, in my opinion, are still going strong.
So this match for me was a turning point in my career. It showed me that I had more strengths that I thought. One question: do you feel the same? Do you feel that this match helped you reach another level?
I do, for sure. No, I do. Immediately after the match, I know I felt so bad, and I'm not talking about the next day, but the whole rest of that year, I wasn't myself. I don't know about you, Nico. I can't remember what type of results you had in 2010 in the summer and in the fall, but for me, I was exhausted, and it came to the point when I was playing in America in the summer, I had to take, I think, 2 weeks off because I just needed a break. My mind was completely worn out. My body was worn out. But as Nico said, it was a good turning point for me because I think what we both exhibited, on that court throughout those 3 days is that we're both very, very good competitors. And at the very least, if you bring that to the court, to the match court, as much as you possibly can every time you play, good things are going to happen. And I think both of us showed that, of course, during that match, and we've showed that throughout our careers. So, Nico, to answer your question, it was a turning point for me. It gave me a lot of confidence to know that I'm a tough out, and if I compete my hardest, it's going to be very, very, it's going to be difficult for someone to beat me, and it's going to work out for me in the long run.
But you said you're competitors, but this is beyond being competitive. We're talking way above just being competitive. This is something mystical that happened on this day, and not only on this day. Because I want to take you back. John, you're probably aware of this, but before he played you, by the way, this was John's first ever win at Wimbledon, which is completely crazy. Also, so many things around this. As a pro.
Yeah. Yep. Sure.
It was your second participation, first win.
Yep. Yeah. Well, I never played the junior event there, so Wimbledon in 2010 was pretty new to me, but I definitely knew, of course, how special the place is. It's the most special place we have in tennis.
And for Nico, it was also completely crazy because before playing you that or those 3 days, he had already played 8 hours of tennis in order to come out of qualies.
I know.
Playing a second round quali match, best of 3 sets, 24-22 in the third set. And everybody in France was going crazy. L'Equipe had a huge front page headline. It said "Ça c'est tennis," which this is tennis. And then 3 days later, that 24-22 seems like peanuts.
Yeah.
But in last round quarters, I was down 2-0
to Stefan Kubek.
I played the 24-22 at the second round, and then the day after, I played Kubek, and I lost the first 2 sets. So
did you play the lefty from England in the second round?
Yeah, Bogdanovic.
Yes. I don't know how I remember that, but I do, and I actually don't know that. I didn't know that you were down 2-0 in the final round. So, I mean, look, a lot of stuff had to come together for us to meet in the first round, and it was almost like it was meant to be. And then, we locked horns in the first round, and we just fought and fought and fought.
Go ahead.
When everything hurts so much, when it's hard mentally, when we played the fifth set, was tough mentally, was tough physically. You have to get a stronger motivation than only win or lose the match. Like, what was your deep motivation, like, that allowed you to dig so deep? I know what was mine, but I always wanted to ask you what was yours. It's not about only win or.
Yeah, no. That's a good point. It's not about, or for me, it wasn't about winning or losing. Of course, when we first started the match, I wanted to win. I wanted to win really bad. But when we got in that fifth set, it became more than just winning or losing. I was just trying to hang on for dear life as much as I possibly could. And even though once we probably hit the 20s, 20, 24, 25 all, I was completely exhausted. But, I wanted to go. I wanted to, if I was going to lose the match, I wanted to, lose it on my terms, I guess. I wanted Nico to play a great game to beat me, but I just wanted to keep fighting. And it's an incredible thing what adrenaline can do for you, because I remember once we got in the 20s, you knew that everyone at Wimbledon that day, all the fans and all the players and everyone were talking about our match and watching our match. So it definitely became more than a tennis match right around 25 all, in my opinion. And I just wanted to go out there and, just keep fighting. And I had a lot of adrenaline, and I just wanted to stay out there as long as it possibly took. And I knew Nico was doing the exact same thing. So for me, what really spurred me on to keep going, Nico, was seeing how you were competing. And even though I was so tired, I knew what I needed to do was just to try to match what you were doing. At the very least, try to match what you were doing. And I was able to do that time and time again, just as you were able to do it for me. So, yeah, it wasn't about winning or losing at all. I wasn't thinking about that in that fifth set. I just wanted to go out there and compete every bit as hard as you were doing.
But was there nothing deep down inside that you were holding on to? Maybe some sort of person you were thinking of, or something supplement that goes beyond just the match and the competition, and that allowed you to hold on and continue doing what you were doing?
Well, I mean, yeah, actually, yes. I mean, my mom was watching that match in the crowd for 11 hours. She watched the whole thing, and she survived cancer. So really, she's always been my biggest inspiration. And then actually seeing her on the court, watching me play, that I always told myself, I saw what she was going through, and I saw how difficult of a time she was having. So for me, I just wanted to compete my hardest, because I know that we're just playing a tennis match, and my mother is someone who really fought for her actual life, and we were just playing, fighting for a tennis match out there. So that was able to put good perspective on things for me, I think. And when she got through cancer, I told myself that I wanted to, I had a good perspective on what I was doing, and I knew that no matter how difficult tennis seemed, it wasn't as difficult as what she went through. So that was a huge source of inspiration for me.
So I understand.
What about you, Nico?
Yeah, Nico.
I understand Yeah, because was pretty much the same. I mean, two things. Um, I wanted to prove myself and prove to others that I was tough. When you talk about French players, usually uh, people say they're talented, they have good skills, they play good tennis, but they're weak mentally. So I wanted to show something else. And also, like John said, my mom died in 2005. She got disease and she died. And when I was young, she was telling me that when I play tennis, when I do something and I feel tired or feel the fatigue, I can go over the limit. There's something behind the limit. And then, I was thinking about her, and I said, well, this is the time, this is the moment you can show her, and she will be proud. So there's, I think, you have the pretty much the same thing.
That's really cool.
It's interesting because it's both your mothers too, which is completely crazy.
It is,
Exactly.
and I'm
Yeah,
glad.
I didn't know the time I hear John talking about her mom. I didn't know.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you asked me that question, and because again, like I've said, we haven't spoken about this match that much together. So for him to ask me that question and for him to answer his own question, for me is very, very cool because I've never heard that answer of his, and just like the people watching this interview right now, they're hearing that for the first time as well. So that's very eye opening for me, and um, very cool to hear.
So I have a question, actually, also for you, John, first of all, and then Nico can answer the same question, but in the opposite. So it's something that happened. So I'm just going to skip ahead, fast forward to the fifth set. During that fifth set, you were ahead all the time. And even though there were no breaks, Nico was playing catch-up tennis. How do you think? I mean, how did that change the perspective for you? How did that make a difference? Was it more comfortable for you?
I mean, that's a good. I've been asked that question a lot, and really, the more I think about it, yeah, I was always up one game. In that fifth set, I was either tied or up one game the whole fifth set, and I think before the fifth set started, I liked the fact that I was serving first, but once we got into the match, I don't think it made that much of a difference. I mean, you know, I technically the pressure was on Nico to always tie the score with me, but he didn't show that he felt that pressure at all for 7 or 8 hours, however long we played that fifth set. So initially, I did like the fact that I was serving first, but ultimately, I don't think it was that big of a deal because the match went on and on and on, and it didn't really to me it wasn't such a huge advantage, I guess.
Well, when you play against John, it's almost impossible to take his serve. So if you start or if he starts, it's pretty much the same. You're in the same situation every time. So for me, was not a big deal. I was just focused on winning my serve and try to see if there's an opportunity coming or not. But it was not a big deal for me.
Yeah, I mean it's interesting. I think somewhere I think it maybe Nico, I can't remember, maybe it was 10-9 or 9-8. I think I had like one match point or something. And, if Nico hit a bad serve or God forbid, made a double fault, no one ever talks about this match ever again. But, it's interesting the little nuances of that fifth set. Both of us had little openings here or there, but you know, for my case, I closed the door and Nico kept closing the door as well. So there were some instances where the match probably could have finished quicker, but we kept coming up with the goods. We were both, of course, serving so well. Everyone talks about the amount of aces I had in that match, which is crazy, but no one actually talks about how many he had. Nico only had about 8 or so aces less than me. So we both 10. There you go. We both were, of course, doing that incredibly well. There's no doubt about that.
Well,
You know
the
that
first was 10-9. 10-9. I remember very well.
And I think you aced me.
Yeah. No. I played forehand, and I thought, someone in the crowd called it out, and I thought it was the linesman. And for a second, less than a second, I thought, well, it's a bad call, and Mohamed didn't say anything, didn't correct anything. So I played a volley, but I didn't know if I had to play or the ball was out. So I was really scared.
Oh my gosh! Well, it wasn't my mom. I promise you that. So,
John, your coach John stood up at that point, thinking that it was over, also because of that noise that came from the crowd.
I don't remember that. Like that's crazy. I just figured he hit a good serve, or either an ace, or I missed the return, or he put a volley away. Like I've never rewatched the match, but I know it's on YouTube.
Wait a minute. How is that possible?
Well, I mean,
how do you not rewatch that match? Okay, but parts of it, or
of course I've seen parts of it. I've seen parts of it, but I've never rewatched the whole thing. I mean, I can't tell you what happened at 23, and there's no. I don't have the greatest memory of everything that went on during the course of that match. It was just so incredibly long.
Well, I can tell you that at 32-32, you guys broke the record of the longest match ever.
Yeah.
So the record was 6 hours 33.
And
it was already a French record.
Oh, that's right. It was Clément, right? Or
Clément and Santoro.
Yeah. And I knew that for me, Nico, this is when, like, once we got in the 20s, I knew the match was crazy. But when the scoreboard broke, that's when, was that when it got in the 40 or something?
47.
So, like, when that happened, I was just like, oh my God, this is insane. The scoreboard was not working anymore. It couldn't register that high. So that's when I knew this.
Were you aware that we were playing like historic match? Like we were breaking records and everything when we were playing? Because I was not. Honestly, I was not. I was just focused on the present moment. And fortunately, I was not thinking about it, because I think I would have lost the focus. I would have lost the focus and lost quickly, I think, in my perspective.
No, I knew, again, once I started hearing, like, on the change of ends, like, you knew the crowd was talking about our match, and you can hear the people outside our court talking about our match, and you could just hear the grounds reverberating, talking about our match. So I did know something historic was going on, but it wasn't until we ran out of daylight and when we got back in the locker room, it wasn't until then I had no idea how big of the story our match was. I had no idea. I, of course, thought it was a big story in the tennis world, but it was the biggest story in the world of sports, but also just the world in general. It was one of the biggest stories going on. So that's when, even though I was so tired and all I wanted to do was eat some food and go to sleep and drink some water, that's when I knew that, holy cow, like, we are in the midst of something extraordinary, and that everyone around the globe, not just in England, not just in America, around the globe, everyone was, of course, not just in France, like, everyone was talking about this match. It took at that point, I knew it was more than just a regular first round tennis match.
But did you look at your phones or answer calls on everything, or read the news or something? Because
No,
I didn't do anything, just for my wife.
Nope. I didn't turn my phone on. And these are back in the days. This is 10 years ago, so I think I had a BlackBerry. So it wasn't like,
Me too.
much social media or this and that. So it's not as crazy as it is now. My coach would kind of show me a headline or something here or there, but I kept my phone off. I didn't turn it on until I think after the match was over, but there's no way I was going to turn my phone on. And Nico, I don't know about you. Again, I've never asked you this. I slept so bad that after we got off court, I slept. It got to the point where I was overtired. Like I was so tired that I couldn't sleep. It's like sometimes when you get so hungry, you become not hungry. Like for me, I was so tired and there was so much going on in my mind, even though I was exhausted. I might have slept 2 hours and it was a bad 2 hours. And I woke up on that third day not feeling good at all. And then I went to the practice courts and I saw Nico warming up full of energy and full of beans. And I'm like, crap, this guy is just not gonna, he's not going to give an inch. So again, when I saw you warmed up before me. When I saw you warming up and how energetic you were, that just showed me that like I needed to match you again, and that's what I was trying to do. But how did you sleep? I bet it was bad.
But you know what? I slept so bad. Like I had to sleep 3 hours. We went for a walk with Boris, like 6 o'clock in the morning, and I couldn't stop thinking about that match. And you know what? I was just pretending because I was tired, of course. But since I couldn't find any solution on court, you were serving so good. I started to to start a little like mental fight, like I wanted you that I was absolutely tired, and maybe I wanted you to think that I will never stop, and then maybe you would just let go down, but it never happened.
And that's when, again, that's what I said when I saw him warming up before at Arangi at the practice courts. He's warming up and he was, he's energetic and he's ripping the ball and he was ready to go and he's laser focused. I was like, oh, all right, I got to do the same thing. And so I tried to do the same thing. So again, like you were like a massive inspiration for me because I just knew how hard you were competing, and this is something that I never could have imagined myself doing. But again, as I said before, I just tried to match you because I knew how. Of course, you were tired, Nico, but you never showed it. Ever. You never showed it.
But Nico, you know what? The morning when I woke up in the morning, I couldn't serve. My abdominals was so sore. So I was not feeling so tired, but I couldn't serve, and I was afraid. I mean, I was really worried. I said maybe I couldn't serve, and then I said, well, maybe John is in the same situation. So let's see what's in the match. And with the adrenaline, I don't know how you say, excitement or whatever it is, I served the first ball and I didn't feel anything, no pain, gone. So that's crazy.
No, because
go
ahead.
No, I was wondering how long it took to not to recover from this match, not physically but mentally, because you mentioned the physically, and it's basically like it took you a few months basically, but mentally, guys, how long did it take to get over this? Because I mean, this was a torture.
Yeah. It's hard to say exactly how long it took for me to mentally get over it, but I do know that definitely for the rest of 2010, every time I showed up to a tournament, that's all anyone talked about. And anytime I walked down the street, people were knew about this match and wanted to ask about this match, and it became really, really taxing mentally to answer so many questions about this match. And for me, I would say it lasted for a good 9 months to a year, to the following year at Wimbledon, of me just not wanting to talk about this match at all, and it just really, really draining me. So mentally, still to this day, mentally was recovering from it. Mentally, was a lot harder than me recovering from it physically. So I don't know about you, Nico, but
yeah, same.
Yeah.
Physically, because right after I was okay because I went to play Newport, so I was surprised. I was feeling good. I said, well, okay, we played the long match, but I still feel good. I played the first match, and the second match I had to retire because I had pain somewhere, I don't know, I got injured. And then for, I would say, a year, because even after in Wimbledon, I had problems. So was the need and was the bag, and I was really bad. And also, everyone was so excited about the fact we played so long. Everyone wanted to get answers. They have so many questions. Sometimes we didn't get any answers. So, there was a gap between all the fans, all the media, and what I was feeling. I couldn't step back and realize the impact of that match at first. I was so devastated after that match that I lost. I was only on the fact that I lost the match. I couldn't really step back and realize what we did, and it took some time. You know what? I didn't want to be remembered as like fantastic losers. A few years before I lost the match against Andy Roddick at Queens with match points. Then we played that match. Then 3 years later, lost in the French Open finals with Lodra, with being 2 points away to win. So I was really, tired to when we were talking about me, we were only talking about match that I've lost, and that was really hard for me mentally.
Yeah, no, it's the same. Like I say right now, the winner or loser of the match, it doesn't matter. Like what people remember is that just the fact that we played in this match. Yeah, in the immediate aftermath, I'm sure you were so devastated to lose that match. But again, had you won, and I think we'd both be in the same position right now, talking about this match and very happy about this match. So for me, it has nothing to do with who won or who lost this match. It was a first round tennis match, right, at a Grand Slam. Should have been a normal match, but it took a life of its own for sure. And again, I think 50 years, 100 years, 200 years, just the fact that we played in this match, that's what's going to be remembered, not who won or lost. That's certainly how I look back on the match.
This is how I see the match now, but I can tell you the first month and year was really not the same.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I can imagine how tough that is, because even though I won, the match wore on me so much. I did not want to talk about it, like, at all. And so I can imagine it would have been tougher, obviously, for me had I lost the match. But look, it was just something, as I said, we both did not enjoy talking about it for quite some time.
Let me ask you this. These numbers, it's so weird to say at 58, at 58 all, you guys took a toilet break. The first toilet break at 58 all, after like 6 hours and whatever. Do you remember that?
But
I remember
what's funny? Because this is something I wanted to ask John, because this is one of my top 3 moments of that match.
Yeah.
And what was the first time we were talking? First time we went to the bathroom, and John came and said, "I cannot handle it anymore. I have to go. I'm really sorry, but I really have to go." and then the first time we were talking, actually.
Yeah, it was, and we were right beside each other in the bath. We had someone, I don't know, some referee or something, and here we are standing beside each other, and we're like, "Oh my gosh, it's 58. What is going on?" I think I said, "I'm sorry," and he goes, "Yeah, I'm sorry too. No worries." But also, we played for 11 hours. Not one person took an injury timeout. Not one person called for the trainer or anything. We just went out there and played. And of course, we sat down on the change of ends. When they called time, we got up. And it did come at a certain point at 58. I think I went to Nico. I said, like, I got to go to the bathroom. I'm sorry. And so I didn't want to interrupt the match, but at that point I couldn't. I had to go. So I think he did too.
Crazy. But I think that had you, maybe correct me if I'm wrong, but had you had an injury break or some sort of, it may have got you out of your concentration or out of that zone that you guys were in.
Well, I think for sure, but this is something that Nico and I, you talk about some tennis players might use the rules to their advantage. Like him or I, it's just something we don't do. And we have such great respect for each other that unless something was seriously wrong, like, or one of us was seriously hurt, there was no way I was going to take an injury timeout. Yeah, my shoulder hurt, but there's nothing a trainer could have done for it. And I know Nico was going through the same thing. So it really became at a certain point just a great mutual respect for each other that unless there was a significant injury of some sort, neither one of us we're gonna take a timeout.
Nico, I wanna ask you if you still have marks on your knees from the dive you took in the middle of the court.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what was the score at that time, but
50.
I had no chance. I had no chance to get the ball back in play. But like I said earlier, I started to dismantle fight. I was starting. That was to show John that I will never stop. I would try to get every ball because I couldn't find any other solutions. And well, maybe I thought I could put the ball back in play, but I was so far away, and I was like ridiculous on the ground. I mean,
Yeah.
didn't hit the ball. It's not a great moment, but it's funny. I can.
John wasn't even watching. He had already turned his back and was walking away.
Nico was on the other side of the court. I had the whole court, backhand volley. Easiest, the most routine. I hit the volley. I turn around, and then a second later, I hear the crowd go, "Oh!" And I'm like, "What? What could they be, screaming about?" And I turn around, and Nico's lying on his stomach, and his racket's like 50 feet away, and I'm like, "This guy's crazy." And all the while, his hair is still perfect, and he's doing this, and his hair hadn't moved an inch, and I'm like, I tell myself, I'm like, I was so tired. But he's not tired at all. But again, that just goes to show he was sort of faking it in a way because I knew you were tired, but excuse me, I didn't think you were tired. I mean, I thought to myself, any normal person would be tired, but he wasn't showing it at all. And again, I just knew I had to match his intensity or do my best to match his intensity.
But do you have the feeling that we entered in a zone like
Totally.
at first when I started to the fifth set, I put first a lot of energy on the first 2 points to keep on my serve. I mean, because we know when you're 30, you're in big trouble. So I was really focused on the first 2 points, but with the fatigue, then it came like natural. I didn't need to make so much effort, and then I entered a zone that it was easy.
Yeah.
Like
Totally.
I could play, and I didn't feel anything. Like, did you feel the same?
So I 100% felt the same. I think something took over our bodies, and that something was adrenaline. We had so much adrenaline. It's crazy what your body, what you can go through and what you can withstand if you just stay strong mentally, which we both did. Physically, I mean, I really wasn't that bad. Like, of course, I wanted to be in the locker room or whatever, but I just kept going and nothing was really bothering me. Like my body, something took over my body. It just as he said, and I knew I had the energy to keep going and keep going. So, we couldn't have done this also, in my opinion, if this was the Australian Open. We couldn't have done it, 40 degrees and heat like that, but it was a perfect day in Wimbledon and there was no humidity and there was no perfect 3 days, actually. There was no humidity. There was no wind. There was no nothing. It was an overcast day. There wasn't much sun. So we had good conditions to play for a long time. But again, all that, you put all that to the side and it was just something, it was like an out-of-body experience, really, like just having so much adrenaline to be able to keep pushing. It was crazy.
John, do you remember the last time you Go ahead,
Go ahead.
Nico.
Go ahead.
Sorry. Go ahead.
No.
I
I
was
said
going to
there's
ask
always
John
things.
if you go.
No, I said there's always things that can disturb us when you play. There's bad call from referee, wind,
Yeah.
sun, photographers, spectators. There's good excuses to lose your focus. And I feel like on that day, anything could happen. We were ready to take it all. That's what I felt. Anything could happen. Ready for it.
Yeah.
Well,
For sure.
that just so you know, that day, the Queen of England was at Wimbledon. She hadn't been at Wimbledon since 1977. So 33 years before was the last time she came. She came on that day. Nobody cared about the fact that the Queen of England was there. Like you
That's
guys,
yeah. It's like that's my point. Like the and I've said this a bunch, and I think I wrote this on the Instagram deal I did, and the World Cup was going on, and England was playing in the World Cup, and still the top headline was our match, and so it was just beyond crazy in my opinion.
well, that the World Cup was
France
going on,
played the
and
World Cup too.
France was in the World Cup, John, and it's the worst World Cup ever for France. And the French players actually were on strike and didn't come out of the bus. And the entire French media and everybody were using Nico as an example to say, look, football players, you should do what this guy's been doing.
Yeah,
Unbelievable. It was
yeah,
so
that's
contrasted with that.
yeah.
But what I want to ask you, so there are a bunch of questions that are coming in, and I want to ask you guys some things. Do you think a lot of people are thinking that you guys should be made club members at Wimbledon because of this match? Don't you think you should be there? I mean, come on. There are people who have won this tournament. That year, Nadal wins the tournament. Nico played more hours on court that year than Nadal.
Yeah. Um, I don't know if we should be club members. I would like to think that in 15 years, when we're both not playing tennis, that Wimbledon would love to have us back and have us maybe hit some balls on the grounds. But as being a club member, that's something that I don't think I'm worthy of. I know we played a long match, but I would like to think that the people at Wimbledon are so incredibly nice, and they've been nothing but amazing to both of us. So again, that's a place that it's all we shared an unbelievable moment, and we have this inseparable bond from playing at Wimbledon. And when my kids get older, I'm going to take them there, and hopefully Nico can meet me there, and we can all sort of reminisce about the match.
Nico, you want to be a club member?
I mean, you know how Wimbledon is important for me. So if they ask us to be a member, I'm sure we'll say yes.
Yeah. No,
Okay,
I'm not going to say no. Sure. I'm not going to say no.
I'm asking right now, Wimbledon, people of the AELTC, please make these guys club members for life. What are you waiting for? Another question is, how come you guys aren't Hall of Famers yet? How is that possible?
Well, for one, we're still playing. So that's the easy
So
answer
what?
right there. I think you gotta, there's rules.
That's the best answer you can.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's fine. I mean, I think you should be Hall of Famers anyways, even though you're still playing. It doesn't matter. I want to ask you a question, John. Do you remember the last time you played a tennis match without serving a single ace?
Oh yeah, I know exactly when it was. It was the next. It was the next day. I was like that. So when we finished the match, when on that third day, just as Nico was saying, I felt all right, even though I woke up so tired. I still had all that adrenaline in my system because the match was still going. So I felt when I hit that first serve when we restarted the match, I was like, wow, I did not think I was going to feel this good. And then once the match was over, I took a deep breath and I just let go of everything, and answered a lot of questions, this and that. and I went to sleep, and I woke up that next morning, and it never, probably the worst I've ever felt in my professional career. Everything hurt. My shoulder, my legs, my arm, my feet. I had blisters like crazy on my feet. And interestingly enough, my neck was really hurting. So when I went out to try to play, I couldn't like go like that. I had to turn my whole body to try to hit a forehand or hit a backhand. And so, I mean, I was doomed. I was doomed from the beginning. You know, I had 113 aces, I think, and then I had zero. So like that just goes to show how, Nico, I'm sure you felt the same way the following morning because you played doubles after we finished our match that same day, which I don't know how you did that, but
But you know what? That was funny because after the match, I went back to the locker room, and I remember I couldn't stop crying, and I was worried because I couldn't remember the last game we played, and we had the ceremony on court with Tim Henman and whoever, and I was keep asking Boris, what did I do wrong? What happened in the last game? Why we stand on court with Henman? And I was blackout or something, and then they had to hour like with my clothes on, and for an hour and a half, I mean, I couldn't remember anything. And then I was ready to go to the press, and then the referee came in the locker room and said, "Well, you have 15 minutes to be ready to go back and play in doubles, otherwise, our alternate team will take your spot." And I said,
oh,
"Okay, let's go." So then I went back to the physio, ankle tape, and went back on court. And you know what? Was on court 18. And I remember we played the match against, I think was Skupski and Fleming, and I could see John on the doing all the interviews and everything, and I was like, I'm still on this court trying to win a match, and he has to answer all the question, and I knew after the doubles I would have to answer the same question that he was answering, and that was hard.
But you finished the next day. You got interrupted by the night, right?
We just played one set, and then 7-6, I think we lost, and then was too dark to finishing, and then we finishing the next day.
No, you finished. I think you finished even. There was interruption.
Oh yeah,
long match.
True, because yes, Arno has to play against Roger on a third match against Roger, so we had to finish on Saturday.
Oh my gosh!
And then we lost. I think we lost in 4 sets or something.
Yeah, 4 sets, and you changed courts. So I mean, these are the things that I find that are just, it keeps coming, like all these things that make this match that weird, and that he went back on court 18 and he was watching you answer interviews from the court. Just surreal. Quick question: what would you have said to yourself, knowing what the match did, how it happened? If you could talk to yourself before that match now, what advice would you give yourself?
Well, if I'll answer that, if I could talk to myself before that match, I wouldn't give myself really any advice. I think both of us did a very extraordinary thing during the course of those 3 days. Yeah, there's for sure some tactical things both of us could have done better. There's no doubt about that. Everyone knows that. But the main fact is that we both competed so hard. And my goal now, when I'm still playing, is to, every time I take the court, because you can't really control how well or how bad you're going to play. One thing you can control is how you compete. And that's what we both did. So I wouldn't change anything. I wouldn't tell myself anything else, because I competed very hard, and of course Nico competed very hard. And that's all you can ask for.
What about you, Nico?
No, that's really interesting, because this is the same thing I'm doing now. See, I'm just thinking about what can I bring on the court. I cannot control how well I would play. I cannot control how well my opponent would play, but I can control what I bring on court, physically, mentally. And I have no regrets besides my necklace, which I can see some image was you see had a necklace awful. I don't know why I have this, but well, um,
What?
that's true.
Explain this. Please explain this.
I don't know.
I didn't.
It was a present, but I saw some images from that month, and I have all necklace, so I will take it off. I mean, if I had to replay the match, I will take it off for sure. But
That is.
besides the necklace, I wouldn't change anything because I think I raised the levels. I mean, at the maximum. At that time, I couldn't play. I couldn't uh, be more focused. The concentration, the everything. I raised the level at the maximum. I had one fear is to lose the match because calls, and I have to say Mohamed was really good. Mistakes from 3 days, so I was really worried to lose the match because of these bad calls or something. I was to lose, but if I had to lose, was only because John was better, and that what happened. So I was fine with that.
What about enjoying? Were you able to enjoy? Were either of you able to enjoy the moment while it happened?
For me, like it wasn't. I wouldn't say I really enjoyed the match. I just knew that I wanted to keep going in the match. Because we were locked in this titanic struggle, and it wasn't the most fun match I've ever played. There's no doubt about that. The most fun matches are the ones where you're playing incredible and everything's working. Everything is working. You don't even have to think about anything. That was not the case in our match. I mean, it was just I don't like to use this word, but it was an epic struggle out there for 3 days, and it wasn't that enjoyable at all to me. It was just a tough thing to be a part of.
And you know what? I enjoyed it a lot. I enjoyed to be tired, to be more than tired. I enjoyed trying to find solution, even though I had only two breakpoints for like 8 hours, I would say. But I enjoyed the fight pretty much. And if I had to do it again, I would do it again.
When you guys walked on court on the third day, and the place was like, so there are 782 seats on this court, but I think overall there were probably like 15,000 people around, and then millions obviously waiting for you guys to come back on court. John, you walked on court and you had a smile on your face, and you kind of took a second to and you were like, this is nice, this is amazing, this is crazy, or whatever. It was a bit ironic. And Nico, you were like game face. Your head was down. There was no smiling at all. It was interesting how that contrasted.
Yeah, I just remember walking off the court on the second day, just get me in the locker room and get me in a bed and let me go to sleep. And then when we were walking to court 18 from the locker room, we had the ushers escorting us to the court, and all the fans on the ground were like, oh, there they are, like we were like rock stars or something, and we're going out to finish a first round match, and the fans surrounded us, and like we're walking and we have fans in front of us, around us, and it's like all this noise and all this chatter. Then we get on the court and we had this standing ovation, and I remember getting goosebumps from that, and that gave me even more adrenaline. Like, 'cause I was ready to play. I mean, I was locked in because I knew Nico was locked in, and then I went out there and like the hair was standing up on my arms because the place erupted, and you could hear people on the grounds clapping and everything. So that gave me a lot of good energy when we walked on the court, because I actually felt, as I said earlier, much better than I thought I would feel. But that gave me more energy and more adrenaline that I didn't feel anything, and I felt like it was the first point of the match.
Totally agree. That's one. I would ask you what's the top three favorite moments, the top three, and it's definitely at the top. When I mean, we went out. Usually there are two guards with us, like walking from the locker room to the court, and there were like 8, 10, and all the fans with guard of honor from the locker room to the court. It's like 80 meters, more or less,
Yeah.
and I was very focused. Two things. I was worried about my abdominals. I didn't know if I could be able to serve, so I was worried. And also, the only concern I had is, okay, we played 7 hours the day before. If you come back on court and play two games, I was just afraid of losing the first game, my first service game. I didn't want it to come back and play like 5 minutes because I knew everyone was waiting for the end. But come back for 5 minutes would have been like ridiculous for me. So I was nervous at the beginning of the third day.
So I know your top. So two of your top three moments, Nico. So what is the third? Because you said the toilet break, coming on court.
Yes.
What's the third?
Third is at 50 all when we had a standing ovation. We were fighting hard, and at that time, they took time. We had like, I don't know, 15 seconds just to enjoy the moment. And I remember we were looking at each other, and I knew we were enjoying the moment. And
Yeah.
this, and actually, the funny thing is, I had the only two breakpoints the game after.
Yeah. No,
So that
that's
So
gave
right.
you a bit of a.
I actually forgot the images, the memories for me. It was walking out on the court at the beginning of the third day, the bathroom break we took, the time Nico dove for that volley I hit because I was turned around and I saw him like this laying on the court. Like that was those are the first three that stick out to me. I actually had not thought about that standing ovation that we got at 50 all. That was very, very cool.
you're nice
Have
not
you ever?
mention the match point. Thank you, John.
No, I don't. I'm telling you, that is not even close to my favorite moment of the match. It's not even
Well,
close.
let's talk about the match point real quick because John, we had a good laugh about Nico's dive. Nico, let's talk about John's celebration. Uh, Obviously,
That's a good one.
he wasn't used to celebrating that much. That was a great
Yeah,
moment of acrobacy.
yeah. If I could take that back, I would change that. It was terrible. It was unathletic. It was everything. But I actually was able to get back up pretty quickly. I surprised myself there. So yeah, because I didn't. Of course, you can't script anything like that. You don't know how you're going to react. It just happened, and um, so one thing I did know. I was telling myself, look, get off the ground and go give that man a hug right there because that was the most important thing I needed to do at that moment. Excuse me.
The handshake was actually kind of not quite to the level of the immensity of the match. I find you guys did you gave each other a hug, but it was pretty quick. It wasn't
Well, it
like
was
it didn't last forever.
well, it was because it was two different emotions, right? I mean, Nico was extremely devastated, and I was thrilled that I won the match. So, and I could see how devastated he was. So, I just wanted to. I don't even remember what I said, but I just wanted to say, great effort, unbelievable effort. This was so cool to be a part of. It was just two very contrasting emotions at that time
but,
because
but if I had to change only one thing on that match, would be the handshake, because I think we deserve something better, I would say, after this match. But I was somewhere else already after the
yeah,
match point. I mean, like I said, I don't remember the ceremony at all. It's like something. It's confused in my mind. And I have to say, John, I saw some images right after, and John had very classy reaction. Uh, when you win this kind of match, you want to enjoy, to celebrate, and just after the handshake, he wanted to share the moment with me right after the match, right after the handshake, which was very, very classy from him.
And it's funny also because when you guys took the picture next to the scoreboard, I mean, we can say this now because it's 10 years later, but John has a smile up to here from ear to ear, and Nico is just like,
yeah.
And that picture is speaks for everything.
Yeah, that picture. A lot of people have that photo, and I know I've signed that photo. I never have enjoyed signing that photo, and I know Nico doesn't enjoy it as well. It's like, I want to get both the LPs fans come up, and it's like, you try to sign as many autographs as you want, right? I mean, as you possibly can for fans out there. But that was, that one photo. I think I've seen his signature on it, and someone comes up to me and I get asked for my signature. That's something that I don't, even though the scoreboard says that I won and that picture says that I won, I don't enjoy signing that photo. I can tell you that.
It's amazing. It's amazing how much the competition went right through the window, and you just shared a moment of sport, a unique moment of sport. What I would like you guys to try and give this match, can we try and baptize this match, give it a name? Because you know how the Rumble in the Jungle, or there are names for big matches in sports, and I feel like this one deserves a name. Have you ever thought of this?
Yeah, that's a good point. I think it does deserve a name. I can't give that to you right now, but I've never thought about that. You want something catchy. So I think if we put our heads together, we can come up with something pretty cool and pretty unique for this match.
Yeah.
Do I have an idea?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's like it could be something like the match of the century, or the match, but it's a bit weak. I feel like there needs to be a name on this match, like it's. So maybe what we'll do is we can get fans to send in their ideas, and then we'll submit them to you guys. And because I think you guys need to be the ones who pick the name. I mean, it's only fair.
Yeah, I think having the fans come up with something would be a great idea.
Nico, you agree?
Of course, I agree. I'm thinking about it. I never thought about this, but it's smart.
Yeah, I think it needs to happen. So, for everybody who's watching this broadcast, please send us a name for this match, and these two guys, they will pick who are watching in France. Did we freeze? We're back. We're back. Everybody back? Can you hear me?
Yeah, yes, I'm here.
Ok, je vais juste le dire en français. Après avoir écouté, envoyez-nous un nom, donnez un nom à ce match, et les deux joueurs vont regarder et choisiront le nom qu'ils préfèrent, et on va baptiser ce match une bonne fois pour toutes. Et comme ça, il sera dans l'histoire et c'est terminé. On va plus, il n'y aura pas de débat, quoi. I think
we already have a plaque. We have a plaque on the court 18.
Yeah, we have that.
Ouais. Okay. I think we've pretty much covered a good amount. I mean, we could go on for 11 hours in 5 minutes, but that might be not a very good idea. First of all, I want to thank you both for joining in and getting back together on this. It's really, really cool, I find. I still don't understand how it hasn't happened, but hey, I'm not going to complain. And I want to say that I think that something that is very special also is that I kind of compare you guys to actors from the series Friends, because you know what I mean. Like Ross was Ross forever, and Phoebe is Phoebe forever.
So
You
who's
guys,
Ross? Who's
no, wait a minute. You're not Ross and you're not Phoebe. That's the whole point. Is that you managed to become players of your own and careers of your own, and this match is only a part of your career, but it's not the only thing that represents you. And I think that that's a huge accomplishment, because after having done what you did, it's tough to get that label off your back. So congratulations for doing that.
No, I think that's a good point. I mean, of course, when you think of me, you're going to think of Nico. When you think of Nico, you're going to think of me because of this match that we played. But I spoke about this earlier. We're both still playing right now at a very high level, and we both have done incredible things on the courts. Stuff that we can be very, very proud of. Of course, we're both proud of that match that we played, but there's also so many things that we've done in our careers and are still doing and are going to do that both of us can be very proud of.
But you know what I like the most about this? It's before the match, we were just saying hi to each other. Like we didn't talk to each other, and after we played, we just became such good friends, and it's just because of that match. So for me, maybe I lost the match, but I won by many ways much more.
Yep. No, that's very nice, Nico, and I mean that's something that's very very genuine on both of our sides. We don't just say that to make the story seem cooler. He's an incredible guy with an incredible family, and we've both gotten to enjoy really getting to know each other since that match.
Well, congratulations both for that match and for everything that you've done since, winning Davis Cups, winning Masters 1000s, winning Grand Slams, all sorts of accomplishments throughout the globe. I hope we see you both on competitive tennis courts very soon. Hopefully, we'll keep our fingers crossed that happens sooner than later. Last words?
Nico, hey man, it's as we mentioned, it's crazy that this is the first time we've sat down, obviously via video, and spoken about this match. But I'm very glad we got to do this, and I thank you for everything. And as you said 2 minutes ago, that I really appreciate the friendship that we have now, and that we are always going to have, because we shared something on that court for 3 days that it's gonna forever link us together, and I'm very, very proud of that.
Yeah, me too. I think there's something we could teach our son, and maybe they will meet soon.
There you go.